KILR Killer Game.
Hello gamers, simmers, and pilots, I am the Killer Gamer, and welcome back to the World Tours, semi-world tour, featuring SubLogic's Flight Lite, or we just call it Flight, not to be confused with Microsoft Flight, but because on the box it says Flight. This is actually the, I don't know if third incarnation is the correct term. Maybe the third release of it. You had Flight Lite, which really only had one plane. It was a Cessna Citation jet. And then there was Flight Lite Plus, which added some extra aircraft. And I think it was compatible with the USA East and USA West from SubLogic. But then they came out with Flight, which is on CD-ROM, and well, you know, with the space of CD-ROM, you'd be able to put all that scenery on there. So, and they were saying that this was released under Sierra, the box copy. At least that's what I came across, but I don't see Sierra's name anywhere on here. So, but it would make sense that on the CD-ROM version, it would have the entire United States scenery that SubLogic has, and in fact, from what I understand, it's a bit more enhanced than the USA East. So I don't know. It might be a good idea, a thought to maybe compare some scenery areas between the two. I think that might be an interesting thing to take a look at. What also might be interesting is if we talk about what we're doing on our flight. Okay, so from what we've learned from the last episode, I guess back in the 80s and 90s, the airport code for Lansing Municipal was actually 3HA. It was not IGQ, which means I need to go and change the codes on some of my old flight simulator videos where we flew to Lansing, because I put in there KIGQ. Well, it's not that, apparently. I don't know. I might start confusing people if I do that. Maybe I should put in the description that at the time it was 3HA. Heck, I didn't even know this. I didn't even know it was 3HA until looking at it here. But there's some interesting things I want to point out about this map. So we're right here, okay, at Lansing, and we're going to be flying right over here to Chicago Midway, just like we did on the other simulators. Now, what I think is interesting is that there is a VOR sitting right here on Chicago Midway, and I don't remember a VOR being there. I mean, it's not there. I mean, apparently it's 112 point... I can't read that. 85? I'm not sure. It was not there on the original SubLogic map, but then there was something on the original SubLogic map from Flight Simulator 2 that is not here on this. Okay, and so here is the original SubLogic Flight Simulator 2 map. Right here is Lansing. Right here is Chicago. You can see they didn't have a VOR sitting here. But do you notice that there's something there that we didn't see before? Keep in mind this, Ehrman, the NDB, right? There is a airport here called Howell. Let's go back to the to the other map. So right here, it's saying 332, right? That's that NDB that we saw. But do you notice that there's no airport sitting right here in between Lansing and Midway? So I don't know if the airport was just like discontinued, torn down, or did they forget? I would have figured they would have built off the already existing database that they had started to work on, with the separate SubLogic scenery disks. So I thought it was interesting to see that airport is actually not here. So let's go in and pull up a real NavAid chart, and let's compare that to what we have here. So here's an actual navigational chart. This is coming, well, I went to airnav.com and then picked the Lansing airport and just brought up a sectional chart. So that's what we're looking at here. And Lansing, we know it as, well, back in the old classic flight simulators, there was only one runway. In later versions, and if you watch the other flight simulator videos, this is why I've been doing this comparison between all the different simulators and all the same types of flights. You'll notice that in the later simulators, there was two runways. The second runway that is going north and south was a grass runway, and it crossed it. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if there really was a grass runway. So it was interesting when I was flying these and I saw this, I'm like, there's another runway here. And then once I started getting up to the more modern simulators, I can't remember which one it started with. It might have been Flight Simulator 2002 or 2004. But anyway, from that, moving forward, there's a runway south of it. You can see it here. It's kind of an L-shaped here. So if there was a grass runway, they removed that and actually built an actual runway just south of the east and west runway. So I thought that part of it was interesting. But getting back to the how, we talked about here, this airport is nowhere to be found right here. I mean, I'm looking, but I'm not seeing any references to it. Lewis is right over here. You can see. Can you see my mouse? Yeah, you can. Right. Oh, it's off the screen. It's right here. So here is Lewis, Frankfurt, right down here. If you can see my mouse down there. I wish I could highlight this. And Lansing is right here. So yeah, that airport is missing. I looked it up and I don't see any reference to it. So if that airport existed, it's definitely not there now. But also take a look at Chicago Midway. There's not a VOR sitting here. Here's Midway, but there's not an actual VOR sitting here. So I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what XGB is. Maybe I should look this up and see what pops up. Okay, so I tried looking that up and I got error, NavAid not found. So, well, it's interesting. I did happen to pull out my actual SubLogic USA East map. And obviously this covers the same area, but it's obviously much bigger than the, oh, here it's on this side here. So this tiny little area here. Let's see, here it is. But it's on here too. See that? Yeah, so it's kind of weird. I'm not sure what to make of it. I don't even know if the 4 will work or not. But I guess we'll tune it in and see what happens. That's where we're going to go. So, hey, if I can even figure out what that says. I guess it says 112.85. That's what it looks like it says. So we'll give that a try, and we'll see what happens. So we are in the plane here. We're going to go ahead and change our radio to 112. It was 85. Whoops. Well, nothing pops up. Of course, it may not be an 8. It could be a 05. I don't know. Let's try 05. Nope, that didn't do anything either. I can't think of anything else that it would be. It's either 05 or 85. We'll keep nav 1 as 05, and we'll do the other one as 85. And just see if any one of them actually pick up. Okay. And I don't know if we really need to use any nav aids to get to Midway. It shouldn't be too hard to find. Let's go ahead and start up our plane. We do that just by unpausing because you can't turn the engines off on this. It's a simplified flight simulator. Think of it as a kiddie game if you want. But it's a kiddie game that has a lot of places to fly, that's for sure. I'd have to say, if I was at the age when playing the Commodore 64 flight simulator, if I was of that same age, getting in the flight simulator the first time, and I had been playing SubLogic Flight Light, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot. Really. I mean, I was just a kid. I was just a teenager, just fooling around, learning things about flight. So, and it's getting dark. So yeah, I think I probably would have enjoyed it. As a kid, teenager, I wouldn't have known anything about how a dash is supposed to look or how a plane's supposed to fly. It's just basic stuff. I think that's what SubLogic was going for this. They wanted, a simple little flight simulator that, people can just get into and fly, and then they made available their whole database of the USA. I mean, hey, what I was going to say, what's not to like? Well, I guess there's a lot not to like, but I think it has something to offer. We're going to go ahead and go to the end of the runway and then turn around. And the hum of the engine is actually kind of a rather soothing hum. Oh, is it me, or is there, like, runway stuff out in the... I don't know. Look at that, it's right on the edge of the runway there, the 27. Okay, so we are getting a gradual change to nighttime, which is one of the things that we kind of wondered about if it was going to do that or not, and it does. So that's kind of nice. That's a little something more than what Flight Simulator 4 does. It doesn't have a gradual. You know, it's just like the old classic version where you've got daytime, you've got nighttime, and then you got in between. This has a little bit of gradual change there, so that's kind of cool to see. I see nothing changing with the instruments, so whatever XGB is, it doesn't appear to be working. Yeah, we've got a water tower. So those are the mushroom things that I've been seeing. There's actually a water tower that actually sits, that actually is in that area too. I don't think we want to hit those. I don't think we want to hit those. Oh, it changed. 112.85. It actually did move. Do you see that? $16.7 miles. So they really drew out a VOR. Look at that. We're pretty much centered on going in its direction too. That's weird. Did they just make it up, or was there really a VOR there? Or is that supposed to be like a different nav aid? Is that like ILS or something? I don't know. Goes Lansing. I hope the roads light up at night. I hope it just is not gray the entire time. I mean, although this looks okay, I still think it looks better in Flight Simulator 4 with the SubLogic USA East and USA West. There's just something about it where it looks more stunning from a retro perspective. You know, obviously it's not going to be as stunning as like Flight Simulator 2020, but you know what I mean. But I gotta say, I like how there's a gradual change from daytime to nighttime. That is a nice touch. That is something I wish Flight Simulator 4 did have. I get a little bit of an external view going on here. I think that's Midway, actually, that we're approaching. Well, we're 8 miles away, so we can go ahead and get ready to land here. We're at 3,500 feet. Yeah, definitely time to start getting lower here. All right. This for sure has more buildings in Chicago than what USA East had, and naturally the original SubLogic scenery. But the nighttime effect for the cities was more impressive, I thought, on USA East and West. Okay, we got our 3 runways there. I think we'll land on center. 32. Should be 32, right? Runway 32. Not right, but correct. There's going to be a right, left, and a center. You can just make out downtown Chicago right over there. blue. There's nothing more fancy than blue taxiways. I always loved seeing the taxiways at night on Flight Simulator 2, and even the Amiga Flight Simulator 2. It made it so much more easier at night to see which one was the runway and which one was the taxiway. I know flying in Chicago, I always got mixed up on which ones were the actual runway during the daytime. It was hard to tell. Coming in. It's getting darker out there. Our throttle's down here in the corner. Look how far down it is here. It's almost all the way down. So, you know, some of the flight mechanics aren't, they're definitely done better on Microsoft Flight Simulator, especially on the very first flight that we did to O'Hare, where like we touched down, we landed, and then we started floating back up again. It's like, how? That shouldn't have been able to happen. A little too low here. Thirty-one C, okay. All right, we are landed. And I see taxiway off here to the side I think we can use. So we can pull up our map here. Yeah. Now this doesn't have fuel boxes, at least I don't think it does. Yeah, but I definitely see we could probably okay, there's a building over here. Yeah, we'll go that direction. missed the taxiway. It's right here. Look at that. We can see start to see Chicago there in the background. I think it takes a little bit, but I think this old simulator actually grows on you, I think. Yeah, I think we'll park right here. And we can see oh, Chicago right there in the distance, so that's kind of cool. Okay, we'll go ahead and shut off the engine there, and we'll say hello. Hello to Chicago once again, and we're here at Midway. So appreciate you joining me on this this flight. It's getting darker. We've got more flights ahead of us. If you have looked at the other simulators, then you know what's coming next. Should be a fun flight. So be sure to ring that notification bell so that way you get notified when the next video in this series is released, as well as other videos on the channel. And subscribing is a great thing because, hey, we want to build our community up. And lastly, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and a like. I'd appreciate it. And your fellow simmers and viewers out there would appreciate it too, because, well, there's other people out there that would like to know that these videos exist. So help each other out. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next leg of our journey.